are going to be watching the Absolute Chaos of Bethesda. I am excited to know what's going on. We have watched Bethesda videos in the past, but today might be a little different, so let's watch.
This video is sponsored by War Thunder.
Ho, ho! This video is satirical and contains edited images and videos with that intent. The images in the video within are used transformatively and fall under the protections of fair use law. The following content may reference allegations, some of which may be unproven harassment or bullying of any individuals mentioned herein and is not encouraged or supported. Good!
The year is 2013. 2 years since Skyrim.
Oh, I love Skyrim. It was so fun.
5 years since Bethesda's last Fallout.
Oh.
And we'd heard nothing.
At
Fans
all?
are starved.
Where did he find this stock footage of some guy with his grippers out? Wait, what is this?
Ravenous for anything at this point, they scrambled for any scraps they could find. Voice actors' tweets, employee leaks, Bethesda staff sightings. They'd take anything. But on the 14th of November 2013, a website appears online.
What?
The Survivor2299.com. On it, Fallout's Vault-Tec logo and a countdown to December 11th. That was just 4 days after the Game Awards, where Skyrim was announced 3 years ago.
Okay, but is this not Slay? Look at the aura farming.
Fans dig through the online directory, and its publisher, ZeniMax Media.
What?
Still, some are skeptical. But then 3 days later, ZeniMax Media actually files the trademark for Fallout 4 in Europe.
Oh.
They'd also said nothing about the website. If it wasn't legit, surely they'd just come out and say so. This could only mean one thing. The next Fallout was here. Bethesda hadn't abandoned us. They were.
That's what always happens. You know when they announced, what was it, Elder Scrolls 6? Whatever it was? Where is it? We've been waiting since like 2012, 2015, somewhere around there. We've had Skyrim on the fridge before that.
Finally throwing a bone to the little guy. And fan speculation goes wild.
Uh-oh.
Then comes the Morse codes. Then the Caesar shift cryptography. Then the Visioneer ciphers. Fans are sat at home in their pants for hours deciphering them. They even find a working phone number on the website, which leads to more codes.
Doesn't this feel like the cicada thing?
Some of these codes reference an actual radio frequency in Massachusetts, which sounds like this.
Okay.
Bethesda's YouTube channel is even linked in the source code of the website. This was serious stuff. Bethesda had gone above and beyond with the viral marketing here. Every gaming outlet is talking about it, and there's even Facebook pages and YouTube channels with daily updates monitoring it.
What is it called when you can't learn your lesson? Like, I keep having faith that Bethesda's gonna have a great game that I'm gonna be, like, entranced in for, like, at least 3 years, but it just never happens anymore!
Subreddit, watching the website's every move. The 6th of December 2013, almost 2 weeks of code cracking, and fatigue is beginning to set in. But it's now just 1 day before the Game Awards, and 5 days before the countdown ends. The hype is tangible. And Todd and the boys hit us with this tweet. What?
What did it say?
And Todd and the...
No, folks, I am not going to VGX. Bethesda is not showing / talking about anything. Just some PR meetings in LA. Why would you do that? Why would you splooge all over my hopes and dreams? Come on!
Boys hit us with this tweet. What? It's gotta be a joke.
Yeah!
Some sort of sick joke. But then fans boot up the website, and... my god. One was the timer, the Vault-Tec logo. All that was left? A Rickroll hosted on a server somewhere in Poland.
No! Wait, is that real? This has to be a joke!
A dark day.
What?
3 weeks of speculation and hype. Countless videos on YouTube, and dozens of hours of people's lives spent cracking random ciphers and lining up rivers
for
on Google
nothing.
Maps. For absolutely nothing. Naturally, they're not pleased. The guy behind the website does an AMA on Reddit, and is vilified by the community instantly. We hear nothing else about Fallout for a while, and Fallout fans return to the darkness.
Aww.
June the 2nd,
That's close to my 4 days away.
15. Another Fallout-themed countdown timer appears. We'd been burned before.
We know.
But turns out, this time, it's actually real.
What?
And on June the 3rd, it's nearing the end. And finally, after years of anticipation, Fallout 4's announcement trailer is actually upon us.
Finally! I think I played this for just a little bit, and then I did speedruns where you had to basically have as fast as possible. And that was pretty much it.
June the 14th. It's E3.
I just went to E3! This year I went to E3! What did I do? I ate a hot dog. I ate a Papa John's pizza. I watched the tournament. And I went by the Chipotle bus. Also, the Chipotle bus was the... Wait, no! I'm thinking of Evo! I think I have old woman disease. I never went to E3. I lied. Everybody was furiously typing. I think I'm old. Guys, can you have, like, early old people, like, disease? I'm only 28, but why in my head did I just make up an entire thing that never happened? I just heard the letter E, and then I went to Evo.
Bethesda Game Studios is holding their first full press conference. Todd strolls out on stage again, confidence radiating. He's met with thunderous applause.
Dude, everybody loves him.
The claims are bold.
All of this just works. And
it just works. Unlike our employees.
Again, it just works.
Hold on. Is that the release date? That's just 5 months away. But first, look to the skies. By God, it's thundering time.
Oh,
War
we're
Thunder is one of the most comprehensive PvP vehicle combat games ever created.
Watch out, we're dropping bombs.
Over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships. From some of the most technologically advanced death machines ever concocted by man, to your granddad's crusty old crop duster. Jump into combat in almost anything.
What?
The detail is immaculate. Sharp textures, crisp sounds. Every vehicle is delicately modelled right down to the corest of components.
Nice.
Engines, fuel tanks, weapons, and even the lads inside.
Whoa!
All of
Hi,
these are
lads!
individually targetable, and in X-ray view, you'll see everything close up. The game has had over 95 million players.
Really?
Join them. War Thunder is free to play on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and now mobile devices.
Look, he did a belly roll. I want to pet his little
You're
plain
a new
belly.
or returning player on PC or consoles? Well, for a limited time, here's a massive bonus pack, including an exclusive vehicle decorator, Eagle of Valor, 100,000 silver lions,
What am I gonna do with
7 days of
those?
premium, plus a ton more. Just sign up through the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Now, for some quick context, a few years before Fallout 4 was even announced, Bethesda let Obsidian Entertainment, a Californian development team with several key people from Fallout's original dev team, take the wheel and crank out a Fallout 3 spin-off based on their original plan for Fallout 3 back in 2004. With only 18 months to get the
And here we go. 18 months? Why are we shooting them out so quick?
game out the door, they got to work immediately. And in 2010, Fallout New Vegas was released.
What? They did that in 18 months? Are you serious? How did they cook on such a short time frame? How did they make that work?
Wait, was that traits from the first games? Joinable factions? An in-depth reputation system?
How?
And actual skill and attribute checks in dialogue and out in the world.
Man, I can't wait to see the look on his face.
Also, the writing here is actually good. The world? Pretty deeply thought out, with multiple factions at play, an interesting conflict, and actual player choice. The characters are also well written, and if you don't like someone, that's fine, because this is always an option. Then there's almost every chain of side quests in the game affecting the main story and the ending slideshow. There are actually hundreds of endings here.
Dude, they made 197 endings in that short of a time period? It's not even just like a linear game with one ending. They had so much stuff you could do. What?
We were looking
What were they on?
at a 3D Fallout game with actual RPG mechanics and
Wow.
good writing here.
Dude, this is the stuff that makes me sad because this is why so many people think that every Bethesda game is gonna be peak. Because look at the things that they have created. They gave so many people such a fun time and hope in the company, and now they just like just be squirting it out their butt
In
cheeks.
fact, the game had fixed almost everything wrong with Fallout 3. And
Wow.
It was phenomenal. Obsidian even had to
Oh, it is Obsidian too. But what happened to Obsidian? Where did they go? We need you!
work around the crusty Gamebryo engine code, with all the issues that came with it. For instance, if anything in the game is voiced, there has to be a character to actually voice it. This leads to characters in the game like Ron the narrator, Bill the tax collector, and Testicles the debug centurion.
Wait, this guy has balls?
The ending slideshow is also an actual in-game slideshow your character's locked into looking at, with Ron the narrator behind it. Anyway,
Wait, they made Grounded. They did? So their game has less bugs in it, even though it features bugs, than most Bethesda games?
due to the engine, the short development time they'd been given, and the colossal 500 megabytes of RAM they'd had to work with consoles, the big plans they had for the city had to be trimmed considerably. But 18 months in, and Obsidian had made one of the best role-playing games of all time.
Nice!
However, because it's so jam-packed and was made in such a short time, it has a rough start. It's horrifically buggy and horribly optimized on release, almost unplayable in some cases.
Aren't there like a lot of mods for this game? I wanted to play this on stream and you guys told me that there's like a huge list of mods to install.
There's literally a bug where you can't enter the main strip of New Vegas without wearing the old cowboy hat.
Yes! Okay, wait, that's actually good. I love wearing a cowboy hat. It reminds me of my home. I miss you, Texas. Oh, I thought that was my computer.
Bugs are eventually patched, but because of its release date, New Vegas received 84 points on Metacritic. That was just 1 point short for the bonus Bethesda would have given them, as
Wow.
per the contract. As a result, layoffs at Obsidian, and around 20 to 30 people have vanished.
What? Okay, guys, I'm gonna have a gaming take, okay? I don't think the price of games should be going up if people don't get to keep their jobs. This happens all the time, and then they want me to pay $100 for a game after they fired everybody. It's just like so much greed.
Nefarious theories about Bethesda begin to float. Some fans even suggest
Game was rigged from the start.
Obsidian would go on to pitch a Fallout New Vegas 2 and a similar spin-off with Elder Scrolls. A guaranteed cash cow for both parties. But this time, Bethesda says no. And that was the end of it.
Oh. Goodbye, Obsidian.
Fallout 4, probably the most hyped game of 2015. It had been half a decade.
That's when I graduated high school. Dude, I feel like 2015 was yesterday. Did you know that was 10 years ago? A decade?
Since we'd last heard anything at all from the franchise. So people are naturally quite excited to jump back in.
Yes!
And on the 10th of November 2015, the game is out the door. The reviews, amazing. 9.5 out of 10.
Wow.
IGN. YouTubers are even calling it near perfect. However, when people actually get their hands on the game, they dig in. And it's neither of those things. During development,
Yeah, we're gonna trust IGN. Okay.
Bethesda had looked at Fallout 3's gunplay. Yeah, not really up to standards, boys. So they pulled some programmers from id, who were developing Doom at the time, to help them make actual, functional FPS combat. And as a result, The gameplay here, a lot better. The gun modification system from New Vegas is back, and it's heavily expanded. It's actually very good here, and utilizes the horde of absolute shit you amass while playing the game.
Good.
Also, more voice actors. So now every third NPC in the game no longer sounds the exact same.
Dude, this is what they have to do for Pokemon. Because if they're gonna keep getting better and better and better Pokemon graphics and like they move their mouths and they talk, there needs to be voice acting or it just feels incomplete. Like before it kind of made sense because they were just like little pixel guys hopping around, being little guys and stuff. But now that they're going into like mouths and moving and stuff, just voice act the characters. It seems like they just cleared out an entire like voice thing or like an entire audio track. It's weird. It feels weird. It feels unfinished.
Plus, a few other elements of Fallout 4 had clearly taken some inspiration from New Vegas. This game actually has joinable factions,
Wow.
and they play a big role in the resolution of the main storyline. And
Nice.
improvement. Companions are also a lot better than threes. They have personalities here, and even their own quests too, like in New Vegas. They now also like or dislike certain actions you do, depending on said personality. There's now a sprint button, and that new power armor, pretty cool. However,
I like the suit.
that's generally where the good ends.
Uh-oh.
See, after a bumpy start, Fallout fans had come to love New Vegas. One of the best RPGs of all time,
Yeah.
some even claim. And so, as a following game in the same franchise, some people expected Fallout 4 to improve, maybe even build upon it. No. Todd Howard is, at this point, a legendary game designer, a 4-times world champion. His ideas were groundbreaking. He couldn't be caged, and his process was not changing for this game. He, and Bethesda as a whole, could do no wrong. This was going to be another smash hit regardless.
They're on top of the
Game of the
world!
Year was essentially coded in. And so again, simplification.
Uh-oh.
The character system in Fallout 3, far too confusing. Special attributes, perks, and skills? Please. So they remove skills entirely.
What?
And merge them into perks and attributes. Traits are still nowhere to be found. The speech. See, half the charm of the old Fallouts are the branching effects of dialogue. The various quest lines and scraps of information you can
I like the way this looks. It looks kind of cool. I have never seen this before. You can like barter and stuff, your money. This looks awesome.
wrangle from people using only the gift of the gab.
Who is it? What? I should kick your fucking ass. Who is this?
So for Fallout 4, Emil and the rest of Bethesda's crack writing team sit down. What Fallout really needs is an emotional story, boys.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Todd's been quite blatantly gunning for a more mainstream crowd for over a decade now, and no one in the general public can really read anymore due to brain rot. So
Dude, it is sad. Like, I don't know why kids can't read. Nobody can read. I feel like I'm the only mother sucker who can still read.
let's kill two birds with one stone, and go for a voiced protagonist.
Oh.
What they didn't see coming, they couldn't possibly have predicted, was that voicing every single line of dialogue your character says in the game 2 times
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Is it
I
black?
am Barbie girl, I said.
is a bit expensive and quite time consuming. So Todd and the team do what they do best. Streamline. That old iconic speech system? Get rid of it. That Mass Effect game is pretty good. Let's use theirs. Let's also
Oh, I thought they like copyrighted that or something. I think I might be confused because I do remember that I saw something about some dialogue tree being copyrighted because it was during the time everybody was talking about how Nintendo had a copyright over here, let me draw you a little illustration really fast. CT might have to cut this in. So Nintendo had this copyrighted, like look, if there's like a building right here or like a tree, you see this? Yeah, they copyrighted the wheel design. So this is the tree. Nintendo has it copyrighted to where if you're moving behind like an object, it's a shadow. I'm pretty sure they made it so that no other game company can do that, which is really weird. Like, why would you do that?
also lock the player down to 4 speech options at all times. And let's not even allow them
Yeah, like the outline of the character. Like, nobody else is allowed to do that except for Nintendo. And that's when you guys were talking about the wheel. They also copyrighted the Mass Effect wheel, I think.
to see what those options are. Brilliant.
Woo!
This results in a ton of speech options being quite deceiving.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck.
Hey! We love bald people! mods are bold.
And because writing is hard, let's just boil every speech option down to yes, sarcastic yes, maybe yes.
Well, to be fair, my least favorite speech system, I think it's in the Telltale games or something like that, where it'll be like, hey, do you like me? And it'll be like, yes, kind of, no, or I'm getting there. And then you click I'm getting there and it'll be like, yeah, I don't like you, you stupid. Go yourself. It's always like way more harsh than you're expecting.
And no, but actually yes. Two of the first and most popular mods to come out removes the voiceovers entirely and actually shows you what you're saying, and this problem becomes quite plain to see. Skills are gone, and as a result, skill speech checks and dialogue gone too. Special attribute speech checks too. There are charisma speech checks in the game,
I don't believe you.
but they rarely result in anything other than give me money.
All right, 200, 150.
The protagonist's voice lines, which caused half the issues here, make up for around 25% of the game's dialogue data and
Jeez, that
script.
guy was making money.
That's about 26,000 lines.
Wow.
All of this time and expense on a feature which fans hate and actively makes the game significantly worse. Brilliant. And at least the dialogue's well written.
If you're here to talk me into working on Liberty Prime, you can forget it.
What?
Do I need to remind you why you made that promise in the first place?
No, that won't be necessary. Tell Proctor Ingram to get her scribes ready.
Then there's the karma system, which they'd gotten rid of, the faction system, but instead of the varied reputations like we'd gotten in New Vegas, you're basically either with someone or against them. The skill and attribute checks they had out in the world in Fallout 3, basically nowhere to be found. They did
So it just feels like more streamlined. Like it's not like you're making your own story because no matter what you say, it's just gonna like pretty much go to the same ending.
put a couple in there though, just enough to remind us that they could have done it, but didn't. Far fewer evil character options. Weapon
Aw, but I like that. I like when you can be a little bit evil. It's fun that way, especially when you're always the good guy at pretty much any game. And sometimes it's fun to be evil.
abilities gone. The new, worse layered armor system. Holstered weapons are no longer visible. And the ending slideshow is not even gimped. It's just completely non-existent here.
What?
The game ends on essentially the exact same cutscene for all 4 endings.
Playing every hour on every channel.
For Fallout 4, Todd also doubled down on the procedural stuff again, and attempted to make the game infinitely replayable. And to do this, they've cooked up the settlement system.
Oh my god, wait, is this there's a settlement who needs your help. How many settlements need my help? I'm just one guy.
A base building framework
Oh, this
that
part,
allows
okay,
you to
okay.
construct your own towns across the map and establish trade routes between them. Sounds great. But again,
Was this the game where you could buy nukes? I think?
there are issues. The entire interface for base building is from the perspective of the player, limiting and obstructing
Which one was the one where you could buy nukes and then nobody wanted to build? 76! You're right, you're right, you're right.
camera angles, making construction a nightmare. There's also a ton of building and trash in the way that you can't scrap and have
Is that
to
who I
build
think it
around.
is?
Again, a nightmare. Not a fan of the system? Unlucky. Because this mechanic is pretty much unavoidable. Elements are mandatory in the main quest, and one of the 4 factions' quest lines completely revolves around it. However, a benefit.
What?
Due to this new settlement system,
All of this just works.
players can now build their own settlements. No need for Bethesda to even bother. As a result, the game is majorly lacking in actual towns. Morrowind had something like 21 towns. Fallout 3 had about 15 proper settlements. New
So it's just
Vegas
empty?
around 15 too. Fallout 4, 5 years later, somewhere around 7.
What? So they just left all this empty space for people to build settlements. But then, like, what if you're just playing by yourself? You're probably gonna be bored out of your mind. When do I get my state-mandated friends?
The main city is also quite underwhelming. Less settlements equals less quests. And surprise, surprise, Fallout 4 is lacking here too. It has
Aw.
less than Skyrim, a game
What?
that came out 4 years earlier. Missing the towns and quests our old games had an abundance of.
Dude, and the Skyrim quests were so good. I remember I cried when I played through the Dark Brotherhood quest.
Well, here's a tiny hovel next to a lake for you to do up yourself. There are around 30 of these potential settlements, and Bethesda uses these to pad out the game's lack of content via more radiant quests. See, There's a man in the game called Preston Garvey.
Oh,
and he's
this is
about
the
to
guy!
become your worst nightmare. Prepare to hear this every time you speak to the man
Yes.
for the rest of the game. Naturally, the character is widely hated.
I'll mark it on your map.
But turns out, he's essential. 10,000 people download a mod solely dedicated to killing him.
Oh my god, there's a mod to kill him? I had no idea. Honestly, dude, all mods nowadays are just fix the game mods. It's so sad. I remember, what game was I trying to play? Metal Gear, the Metal Gear remake. I tried to play that and it was lagging so bad. And I went to the mod page and all the mods were to fix the game. When there's no Gooner mods as #1, you know the game industry needs help.
There's also a mod that just stops him giving out quests in an attempt to make him more tolerable. It has around 50,000 downloads. Others turn to alternative ways of doing that. Settlements are also just kind of pointless.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
They have no impact on the main quest, and most of the actual settlers are just basic, randomly generated NPCs. You get money and items from establishing trade routes, but at the end of the game, you're pretty much drowning in all of that anyway. The COD wasn't finished with the procedural stuff just yet. In New Vegas, there were a ton of unique weapons.
Dude, even just watching her pour that. Okay, lore drop for the people who don't know YouTube Indies. Before I was a streamer, I was a bartender. And when people would come up to me and they said that their drinks weren't strong enough, do you know what management told us to do? They said, take the alcohol and pour it into the straw. So that way when they take a sip out of the straw, they go, oh, this shit's strong as hell.
It had unique effects and actually looked unique. In 3, most uniques had unique effects, but looked exactly the same as their default. In 4, due to the new procedural legendary weapon system, any gun can now basically have any effect, meaning no weapons here actually feel unique. The same goes for armor. When it comes down to the amount of actual content in the game, disappointment here too. Cut content, par for the course for Bethesda games, but it's never been more apparent.
Dude, Elder Scrolls 6 should release with literally everything. When was that announced? June 10th, 2018. They have had almost 10 years to cook. This better be Michelin star.
The map is densely populated like Skyrim, with a ton of interesting locations. The issue is, they all essentially end up just being a nice little backdrop to murder people in. Cool. A town made out of old boat, barge,
I kinda
and
like
ship
that.
parts. It's just a bunch of raiders you have to kill.
Oh.
A gladiator-style arena in the middle of downtown Boston. Just a bunch of raiders to kill, with no...
Yeah, procedural story, procedural map, procedural refunds. Why can I not say the word procedural? Procedural.
reason to ever return. Fallout 4 is barely even attempting to be an RPG anymore. It's a sandbox, base building, looter-shooter, action exploration game. In 3, Bethesda had absolutely nailed the atmosphere. It's pretty much unanimously praised. So in 4, they change it completely. The gloomy, gritty, post-apocalyptic vibes of 3 turn into bright, colourful, and hopeful in Fallout 4. The music too.
Bum, bum. That was good. Now give me a kiss.
Also,
I love you, baby.
For a AAA game in 2015, the graphics are not great. Stiff animations and pretty horrific textures across the board. The super mutants look especially bad. Compared to The Witcher 3 the same year, yeah, not great.
Oh, The Witcher 3
Despite
came out
the
at
bad
the same time?
graphics, the game runs terribly. Fallout 4 also features an art style change that in a lot of cases does the game no favours. Some weapons look weird, rules look worse, and super mutants go from deformed, hunched over
I want to kiss him. Come on in, come on in.
mutants to
Oh! Oh my god. He's hulking out.
Just large green men. We don't talk about the synth armor.
What?
Also, is that gun bolt on the wrong side? The writing. Again, Emil is back as head writer. And as a result, we're served an absolute masterclass of storytelling. We emerge from a vault, looking for an immediate family member. Again. The big silver people. They're back. And central to the storyline.
Honestly, like, I just want to show some appreciation right now. He puts so much into editing the video. Like, everything has so many tiny details and things that you could, like, pause and look for. And the video was so long. And he put a lot of time into this. So, like, clappy, clappy, clappy. He put in so many little things to look for.
Again. Look.
Like,
Giant
he worked
Robot
really hard
Man
on
finale.
this.
Again. Wow. Also, you've just left the vault with the sole mission of finding your only child, who's just been ripped from the clutches of your lifeless spouse. Only to immediately get sidetracked by Steve down the road, who needs some help building a shed. Not too long after the game comes out.
Honestly, a lot of games are like that, though. I'm not trying to defend the game or nothing, but, like, in Breath of the Wild, you literally just run around and start milking 50 cows, doing backflips, doing bomb jumps, and Zelda's like, please, like, please, 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 I'm waiting all day, where are you? But that also might be me because I get distracted in every single game. I will do so many side quests over and over and over again before I even get on to the main story. Every single time.
Emil does a talk.
I know my message getting buried through browser. Do I have a Discord server? Yes! Exclamation point socials? Is that right? Or social?
Talk where he explains a shed. Not too long after the game comes out,
Todd!
Emil does a talk where he explains his writing method. It's controversial.
The dialogue system was a mistake. In short, if you want to be a great writer, listen to all of his advice and do the exact opposite. These are like TikTok levels of hater.
Keep it simple, stupid. This is what happens at Bethesda. When you write the main story of a game, we're gonna write the great American novel. It's gonna be this thick.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I mean, honestly, keep it simple is kind of W advice for like 90% of people. There are so many concepts that I think are cool and so many stories that are so expansive and fun, but like the average deduction or average intelligence just like doesn't care. They don't want to pay attention. They don't like the sappy, goopy stuff. They just want to shoot things.
And you're gonna give this book, this great American novel, to the player. And what are they gonna do with it? They're gonna rip out every page and make paper airplanes out of it. And they're never gonna see your story. They are gonna spend 30 hours making shacks. This is who we're making the game for. That's not the end of being a video game developer. Because the true mark of being a real developer is waiting for reviews to come in. And then reading the reviews.
This is real though!
Of course. And hopefully, if you get lucky, ignoring the reviews.
Bro, I was on your side. How did you lose me in 5 seconds? I was rooting for you, and you blew it!
Then there's the design of the game. Emil is head of that too. See, lead designers of a game usually have this thing called a design document. This is available to everyone on the team and sets out pretty much everything the game is trying to achieve, keeping everyone on the same page at all times. New people join the company midway through development, just send them the design doc, and they'll be up to speed. Design docs are usually constantly updated throughout development, so if something changes, it'll be reflected on the document. But turns out, the lead designer is not a fan. Design docs take a bit of time to keep up to date, and it's just a bit too much effort. So for Fallout 4, he basically just scraps it.
Is this like the equivalent of somebody coding but like leaving no comments or notes and just saying like good luck everybody else? Why would you do that?
Apparently resorting to a few smaller ones for specific areas of development. Now Bethesda games are not small projects. Their studios consists of hundreds of people collaborating across multiple countries.
We don't give two shits about how technology works, because all we care about is getting rich.
And now they're going about this without a cohesive, shared document.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, the guy earlier when he was yapping about making things stupid, honestly, maybe that's why I thought Expedition 33 was so refreshing. I think the 2 endings were interesting. You kind of got to pick what you believed in and what you thought was true, and then you got 2 like totally different things that happened. That was a nice decision. And I feel like the story never really insulted your intelligence. It was, honestly, that was a really nice change of pace.
Doesn't sound ideal.
Not a great plan.
He receives a ton of backlash for this, and later walks it back in a tweet. And of course, the bugs are numerous. And incredibly basic things
You ever just start cranking it on the wall?
are still missing. There's still no ultra-wide support, or even an FOV slider,
Ow.
even though you can easily change it by modifying the ini file. This is on a PC in the year 2015. But of course, Bethesda knows their fanbase will clean it all up for them, so it's all good. When Fallout 4 first released in November 2015, Todd and the boys offered a season pass for $30, including access to all future DLC content. At the time,
hopefully.
the scope of the DLC isn't public knowledge, but the last two Fallouts had a clear formula of 4 to 5 decently sized story expansions.
Yeah, honestly, this is just turning into game industry hater of the video. But like, it blew my mind that the new Pokemon game released like paying for the DLC. Like there was DLC for the game that hasn't even been out yet. Like, was that not just wild? Was that not just some greedy shit?
With new locations, quests, weapons, and enemies. So people expect something similar here. Bethesda had also stated that the season pass would be worth at least $40 in total. Pretty sweet deal. February 2016, and Bethesda has an announcement.
Oh, here we go.
They've expanded their original vision for 4's DLC.
Are you with me?
And the season pass price is getting bumped up to $50 a
What?
month. If you hadn't already, you better get that season pass now.
Wow.
They released their first expansion that same month, and it's a small quest line with a character from Fallout 3, as well as a new robot building system.
Aww.
So right, I guess. April 2016, and DLC 2 is released.
Okay.
Wasteland Workshop.
Is this
This is
good?
basically just a few more things you can craft for your settlements, and some arena fighting.
I can't remember which Fallout game just got the fishing. Was that 76?
Okay. May 2016, and we get the first proper expansion, Far Harbor. And this is actually decent. Bethesda had clearly taken in some feedback here, because it includes actual RPG elements and is decently written.
Okay.
Let's just ignore that one quest there.
They stole it from a mod? Oh my god.
They then released 2 more workshop DLCs. Exciting stuff. Then the second full expansion, Nuka World, releases in August. Again, this expansion is good. The season pass was shaping up to be a pretty good buy.
Honestly, like, I'm glad that they're listening to criticism at least and trying to like implement things that fans want. I think that's really important to like actually listen to your player base. And the best DLC, you guys, I know I've been Nintendo slop, like boom, 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 Nintendo. I've been shitting on Nintendo, but I will say the greatest DLC I ever bought was the Mario Kart one, because it always came out with new maps that I was like excited for, and it would get me back on the game, and it was one price for all those maps, which is like not very Nintendo-like at all.
Wait, this was the last DLC?
What?
So that was 2 actual expansions, a small quest line, and then some tiny crafting DLC. Fans are pretty pissed.
People will buy anything. That doesn't mean...
Despite the issues, the game sells insanely well. Todd had done it again. And Fallout goes mainstream. Mass appeal. And hundreds of millions are conjured yet again. Todd gets suited and booted and heads to the Game Awards.
Well, it's like hope, right? This has turned way more doomer than I was anticipating. Like, people are just so hopeful, and they believe because they remember the experiences they had as a kid or a young adult with like the games, and they want it to be better, and they know your potential.
Ready to sweep up yet again. But once he gets there, something feels different. The atmosphere.
Oh, people are upset.
Todd has some white wine and dips into the salmon pinwheel.
Ooh, yummy.
It's fine. It's probably nothing. And the lights dim, and there it is. Best RPG.
The best RPG. The winner is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Uh-oh.
Developer of the year.
For Developer of the Year goes
Uh-oh.
to CD Projekt Red.
What? Game of the year.
And the winner for Game of the Year 2015 is
I swear to God. I swear it. USA. USA.
The Witcher 3.
What? Outrage. Todd Howard snubbed. He leaves and gets cracking on his next game.
No, even his car is glitched.
This thing was going to be a masterpiece. The consistent regression of their games, definitely noted, but Bethesda still has a generally tremendous reputation. In a market currently setting its sights exclusively on your mother's credit card.
Hello?
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 Good evening, sir. I'm calling from your credit card component.
Bethesda had stuck it out, remained single player, and actively avoided egregious monetization. Mostly.
Was that the horse armor? I think I saw the horse armor.
One of the few decent gaming companies left. But around 2016, and even this begins to change. In October, Bethesda Softworks decides to make a controversial change.
What?
See, game reviewers typically get sent out review copies a few days or even weeks before games come out. This is so they have enough time to actually play the game before writing an entire review on it for launch day.
Yeah, IGN, take notes.
For longer, single-player games like the ones Bethesda Softworks publish, this is pretty important. But Bethesda now reckons, nah, let's just send review copies out one day before launch. So, everyone, including those in the media, get to experience our games at the same time. Definitely not to sweep glitches and issues with the games under the rug until everyone had already bought the game. This is obviously quite controversial, and after releasing a couple of games under this, they backpedal. Also, around the same time, a tiny indie developer is developing a small game called Pray for the Gods. ZeniMax hears about this and comes knocking. Nice name you got there, pal. But turns out,
is it copyrighted?
We already have a game with the word pray in the title.
Oh.
Nothing personal, kid. They're forced to change the name.
Oh yeah, that guy did try to get through Cuphead, and then he couldn't get out of the tutorial, right? How does that happen? How are you employed and you can't go through a tutorial?
They're forced to change the name. A few years before that, Mojang was making a game called Scrolls. ZeniMax had come knocking down too. Same result. Also in 2016, Todd has a surprise for us. It had been 2 years since Fallout 4, and players are starting to get hungry once more.
What is it?
Todd and the boys had something in store. Another edition of Skyrim. That was on top of Skyrim Legendary Edition.
Skyrim Samsung Fridge Edition. Skyrim Play on your BlackBerry Edition.
In 2013, Skyrim VR Edition, which would release in 2017. And Skyrim Nintendo Switch Edition shortly after that. Fans are overjoyed. That's not all. The Special Edition replaces the original Skyrim listing on Steam. It also changes the game from 32-bit to 64-bit.
I think I have the Special Edition.
Every single mod is now automatically broken and needs updating.
Wait, I never thought about this. Is this why whenever you install mods for Skyrim, you have to get the SE scripts reader or something like that? Did they make you do that because they had to rewrite all the mods after the new edition of the game? I always wonder why you had to install that.
It's not all bad. They announce mods on console.
Oh.
They also announce paid mods for all platforms. The Creation Club. It was simple. Slide some cash over to modders to create a mod that probably already exists on the Nexus for free. Create their own currency with predatory pricing models. And then sell these mods to players through it.
Paid mods is wild.
Are simply jaw-dropping. An $8 Chinese stealth suit, pretty much identical to the one in the base game of Fallout 3, for free, and also currently available on the Nexus, for free. And look, horse armor again.
Not the horse armor!
2018.
I think I fell for this. I think I have the horse armor in the game.
It's rumored that Todd is working on a massive, brand new IP. Their first in 25 years.
Wait, this isn't the Star... Oh my god. I think I played an hour of it and refunded it.
We're probably not going to hear much from him for a while. But then, on May the 29th, another countdown appears. This time on Bethesda's own Twitch. On it, the words, "Please stand by."
Oh
my god, it's happening again.
They're gonna cook?
Everybody stay calm.
They're gonna cook?
Everyone, what's the procedure? Stay calm.
And then there he is.
Have we waited long enough, guys?
Yes!
What was this? It was only 3 years since the last Fallout. Could this be the massively anticipated New Vegas sequel? Perhaps Fallout 5 skipped the queue. Speculation goes wild.
Everything on this wall.
Regardless, the next day, the countdown drizzles down to 0, and the world sees the next Fallout for the very first time.
It's the nuke game. Look at him just like teeter-tottering around. Ruh-roh spaghetti-o.
Excitement. Although people still don't really know what it is they're excited for. June 10th. It's E3. Todd charges on
Not Evo, by the way. This is not Evo. This is E3.
stage, and we get some actual details of the game.
Fallout 76 is entirely online. All new rendering, lighting, and landscape technology. It is 4 times the size
16.
of Fallout 4.
Oh.
16 times
Yeah.
the detail. Of course you can play this solo. You'll never even see a server when you play.
This all sounded brilliant. An online PvP base building survival game.
Uh-oh.
The collector's edition looks promising too.
And it also comes with a Fallout collectible that really I've always wanted, so we made them for everybody to buy, and here it is.
What? Was that real?
Okay, no. But we do get a helmet, a map,
That glows in the f***ing dark.
and some army figures, alongside a canvas bag.
Not the canvas bag. Please, it hurts my soul. Anything but the canvas bag.
It's also the perfect time to tease Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. 2 games that are around 5 and 10 years out from launch, respectively. But
Where
anyway,
is it?
this thing's coming out on November the 14th, and that was just 5 months away. Bethesda had held a beta a couple of weeks before launch for people who'd pre-ordered the game, and things start out rough. By this point, Bethesda weren't exactly known for the structural integrity of their software,
Yeah.
and they decided to launch the game exclusively on their brand new Bethesda launcher.
Oh,
made in-house.
no. Guys, I hate exclusive launchers. If it's not on Steam, you're pissing me off. I'm getting so mad. If it makes me open something else, I'm pissed.
By Bethesda's best. Just go to their website, download it, slurp up the 45 gigabytes of game files, and in around a week's time when the beta's unlocked, just hit play. Simple enough. And players do exactly this, but turns out, for some, upon pressing the play, the launcher deletes the entire game instantly.
What?
Bethesda releases an emergency statement.
Dude, imagine me and with my shitternet sitting at Starbucks. I just wasted 20 years of my life downloading this, and I gotta start all the way over, please.
Telling players to stay calm and not to touch anything. They're working on it. And then promptly deletes the tweet.
Oh.
Things are off to a good start. Also,
That's what I just did.
the YouTubers. They're uploading videos.
Uh-oh.
They're not good. They say the game is running horrifically.
I couldn't get the game to run smoothly. I had tons of FPS issues and tons of stutters.
Even on NASA tier PCs.
Well, welcome to UE5. I feel like this has gotten worse.
And that bugs are everywhere. But fans disagree. The dislikes come in hard and fast. Bethesda would obviously fix everything before release. This is a beta after all.
Okay.
Right.
However, this is a beta about 3 weeks out from launch. Fans close YouTube and head over to Twitch, where Rick and Morty are streaming the game.
I know I'm naked,
I get you spell for that.
And head over to Twitch, where Rick and Morty
Not the plebs! Anybody but Tyler.
are streaming the game.
I know I'm naked, but just come help me out. No funny business.
Everything was gonna be okay. 14th of November 2018, and the world is blessed with Fallout 76. And after downloading a day 1 patch bigger than the game itself, players boot up and step out into what would be
An untamed, and very different wastelands.
Wow, it's feral out here. Wow.
Todd had made some grand promises, and the follow-through was nothing short of incredible. Voluptuous size, and the detail, simply eye-watering. However, Fallout 76's development was handed to a newer, relatively inexperienced Bethesda team in Austin, with the main Bethesda Maryland just designing and overlooking the development of the game. And turns out, this new team decided to forego bug testing entirely.
Why?
And on launch, Christ.
Why? They're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me.
There are frozen enemies.
It's a glitch!
Flying enemies, invisible enemies.
Hello?
Naked enemies, upside down naked enemies, invincible players.
Shot. Or not. I could get the damage bug.
Pop-ins, rendering issues,
16 times the detail.
random god rays, T-poses, server crashes,
Hey, bye-bye, bitch. Told you.
and muscle loss. Animations are also off. There's a ton of exploits, and so much more.
Dude, and if this is all online, it's so unfun to be playing against people who have like all these exploits all the time. Like, I feel like at first it would be funny, and then after a while you're like, can I play the game?
What the f is going on?
The year is also 2018, and Bethesda's newest AAA game is capped at 60 frames per second, even on PC. Naturally, players are quite annoyed, so they dig into the game files and start tinkering. And in a mere few minutes, they figure out a simple fix. However, turns out the cap's there for a reason, because turn it off, and time and space itself speeds up and destabilizes. This is because the game world's physics are actually tied to the frame rate of the game.
What? Wait, what? My brain hurts! Why would they do that?
Head over 100, and your character becomes the Flash. This bug has been in Bethesda's engine code dating back to Morrowind, and it's one of the many bugs modders have repeatedly fixed on their own, almost instantly after release, only for every following game to reintroduce it. There's also still no FOV slider.
Oh, okay, I get it. There's 60 seconds in a minute. So if you have 60 FPS, it goes normal minute speed. Yeah, that makes sense. Because there's not 100 seconds in a minute. So it's like, it'll mess with the world.
I keep getting away with it!
So PC players dig into the game files again, and do it themselves. But turns out, the UI is tied to the field of view here.
Why? Why is everything connected? Why?
Change this, and the UI elements are just gone. Push to talk? Sorry, not.
Yeah, push to talk is actually connected to your mouse click button, so if you turn that off, you can't shoot anymore. Because, you know, like, you shoot the shit in voice chat, right? Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
This time. Proximity chat is either permanently off or always on.
What?
The latter by default. Meaning you'll be hearing the cries of children and screams of mothers in the distance.
No, and you know somebody's on that connect-ass microphone. Please.
Fairly often. There's also no text chat, and on PC, you can barely remap the horrific controls. The game itself, also quite lacking. As was now well established, bug fixes and patches for Bethesda games had been outsourced to modders for free. But for Fallout 76, Todd decided to outsource the actual content too.
My personal favorite part of Fallout 76 is when they create their own fun.
See,
He was just yapping. He had no idea what he liked about the game.
Bethesda had so much of their team working on the detail,
16 times the
that developing actual things to do in interactable NPCs simply not possible. And the game features absolutely no human characters, only other players. But it's alright. Other players will take the place of NPCs. Todd.
So what happens if the game dies? There's nothing to do? There's nobody to talk to? That's so weird. I don't know. Having like a totally community-driven game just seems like you're asking for trouble.
Reassures us. With no NPCs in the game, naturally, the quests are terrible. The main quest line basically boils down to following the trail of someone's vlogs across the map. Okay, at least there's the side quests. Stuff like find Steve.
Okay.
Oh, Steve's dead.
Steve,
Thank God he left this TikTok behind for us to watch.
The war is over.
You are out of uniform, soldier! Where is your power armor? That suit is going to come out of your pay! Now get out of my face and don't come back until you look like a soldier!
Fantastic.
He choked me out.
The game features PvP, but the PvP is horrific.
Is it?
Instead of simply adding PvP and PvE servers, Todd attempts to toe a tight middle ground and makes it so two players have to shoot each other before either can do any actual damage.
What?
Shoot someone that hasn't shot you back yet, and you may as well be shooting blanks. And the graphics, still not great.
Wait, so there's no point in fighting anybody then? Because you would basically just have to stand in front of them, like text and stuff. Would you like to duel? But I mean, I don't know, because you wouldn't want to just keep dying over and over and over again, because that's what happened to me in Clash of Clans when I was in Spanish class when I was a kid. And what happened was I just uninstalled the game because I got rated by some like level 100 person and I was level 1. I was like, this is not worth it. How do you fix that? Like, how do you have it where it's fun to battle other people, but like you're not constantly getting blown up by people who just pay to win, basically, and just ruin people's days? Now there's an area that's PvP. Okay, that seems like a better idea, because then you know you're in like lawless land, right? And everybody just shooting everybody. Pa, 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 pa.
Beautiful, stunning, 2018. Ah, magnifique.
It's not all bad. There are some cool things here, like dropping nukes. They drop more than one at a time, and the servers will implode.
You'll never even see a server when you play.
The launch codes are also the same for every server, and change once a week. Just spent countless hours getting all 8 pieces. You could have just Googled them. The building is alright, but the build limit is extremely restricted. All you can really do is build crafting stations, a bed, and storage.
Please don't tell anyone how I live.
Storage that is, again, extremely restricted. They end up raising it by 50% after a huge number of complaints.
You would kind of have to, right? Because I'm kind of a loot goblin. I like picking stuff up, putting it in my pocket, and then I'm bad about using items because I always wonder, like, what if I need this later?
But they say they can't do any more due to server performance issues. So the game itself, not smooth. But the one thing that does work perfectly on launch is the new in-game shop, the Atomic Shop. Come in and browse such luxuries as a set of power armor with some paint slapped on for just $20.
Jeez, these are Overwatch 2 prices!
Are you f***ing serious?
Do you like $7 digital fridges? Do you like the outfits you got for free in our last game? Great, come in and spend some money. Naturally, at first, there are pay-to-win concerns around this store.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But Todd comes out. It's alright. You can earn the currency in-game. The purchases would fund the upcoming free expansions for the game. And most assuring of all, the Atomic Shop is and would stay cosmetic only. So that PvP would stay completely balanced and fair. We're definitely not asset flipping Fallout 4 and selling it back to you for dozens of dollars. And there are absolutely no fake discounts and law-breaking price schemes.
I hate that. Like, they just basically implement old games into a new game, and then they say, oh, it's for nostalgia. But it's not for nostalgia. You were just lazy and didn't want to make new stuff.
Nice. Time to get spending. Naturally, the game doesn't make it a few days before discounts appear. The game starts at $60. Within just 1 week, a third of that is nixed. 50% sales not long after that. Alongside the discounts, hordes of fans had been requesting refunds. Initially, Bethesda had given in, but now, no more. Some people had even promised them, only to have Bethesda backtrack the next day.
What?
See, if this was on Steam, they'd have to give the green light for these.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
It's 2 hours on Steam, by the way. Don't ask how I know that.
It's on that old launcher of theirs. Check and mate.
Jeez, I think when I watched the internet historian video about this, the problem is that I need to know if you guys also have this issue. I will experience media and then forgore about it. Like, I watched that video like 6 months ago, and I enjoyed it and I loved it. It was like something that I thought about all the time, like the Roman Empire. To me, that was that video. And then I just forget. I forget everything. I just watched Chainsaw Man like last week, and I don't remember what happened.
But then come murmurs of a class action lawsuit, and they backtrack immediately. So the game is absolutely horrendous, and naturally, the sales are too. Also, no Game Awards, not even a nomination, and a whopping 2.6 on Metacritic.
Holy crap, a 2.6. What has ever gotten that low? Metacritic lowest rated game. Yeah, it's not looking good. We got Carnival Games for the Wii, The Sims 2 Pets, and Simpsons Road Rage Loose. Oh wait, these are like personal. Okay, wait, here we go. The lowest rated game. NBA Unrivaled. Wait, no. That was a 24. Lowest rated game on Metacritic is Family Party 30 Great Games Obstacle Arcade.
Right, boys. Should probably do something here. They can't rely on modders to fix the game this time round, so Bethesda gets to work on actual patches.
They're gonna
After
work!
a few months, Fallout 76 slowly morphs into something resembling a playable game. Also, the boys in Bethesda's R&D department had been working round the clock. And by the end of 2018, was that an FOV slider? Widescreen?
They
Even pushed
listened!
to 4? What was happening? Despite the progress, there are some bugs they just can't quite crack. Also, a teleportation exploit using cameras, hackers finding a way to spawn in weapons, armor, and other objects into the game.
Was this the game that had the dev room that people just kept going in and taking all the items out of?
Even NPCs and stuff from other games.
Bethesda just does not have the infrastructure in place that allows them to deal with situations like this efficiently.
These hackers are also running around stealing people's entire inventory. They don't even have to see you to do this, as long as they're within the general radius of the player.
That's scary!
And because the Pip-Boy is technically an item in your inventory,
You can just not play the game anymore! They just take the way you play the game?
say goodbye to that too. Luckily, thanks to another glitch, the game checks if you have a Pip-Boy every time you log onto a server, so join a new server and you'll be alright. It takes Bethesda around a week to address this.
A week? Of not even be able to play the game that I paid for that I can't refund? It's just crap on my PC?
And when they do fix it, hundreds of people have lost everything.
There's no way! How is it a fix if people still lost everything?
Victims are given two options. Roll back their progress to before the muggings, or meet up with someone from Bethesda in a private world who will hand all your stuff back to you.
Okay.
But despite the improvements in the game, problems are surfacing outside of it. As part of the collector's edition, they'd promised a canvas bag, quite clearly labelled here.
Uh-oh.
But on launch day, horror for collectors as they unboxed their editions, and it was nowhere to be found. Instead, a cheap nylon bag in its place.
That is so bad! You know that's crunchy like a diaper!
After suggesting a canvas shortage and then denying replacements, they backtrack again and hand out a form for people to fill out a
We're
replacement.
sorry.
This goes through very smoothly, with no issues. However, this is...
What did that say?
This goes through very smoothly, with no issues.
I am getting your support tickets on my Bethesda account. Now I know where you live. That is insane. How do you dox yourself asking for help? Hi guys, first time Reddit poster here. I am a gleeful vault dweller as yourselves. And as of this moment, I am receiving every single one of your support tickets on my Bethesda account. Mostly it is your receipts for your power armor set requesting a new bag. These receipts contain all of your info, your email, your home address, and the card you used to buy it. The card? I can see the problems you are having with the game. Yes, I am having them too. And I know a few of you want a refund that Bethesda has said can't happen. I can update your ticket for you if you'd like. They are employing somebody who doesn't even work there. And close it. How fun is that? Please rest assured I have no desire to stalk you or mess with your Fallout 76 experience. Thank God this went to a nice guy. Like, for real. This could have been in the hands of an evil, evil man. I just wanted to let you know that this is happening anyway. I gave Bethesda a heads up on Twitter, so we'll see. I wouldn't want the person having to respond to all of you. Oh, I don't want to be the person responding. How many tickets did he get? Currently, there's 8 pages of Canvas bag requests. Oh my God, that is so many. And fix or refund demands. Is there anyone enjoying the game? Does anybody out here like it? Oh, well, see you in Appalachia. Be nice to each other. I love you. Note, only the last 4 digits of the credit card were visible, and only on the receipts players submitted with their nylon bag. Damn.
However, this is not the only underwhelming merchandise.
Oh, the bottle.
September
I remember
2019.
this.
It's been around a year since release.
Wasn't that bottle like actually a plastic bottle that you would just snap in half and it wasn't even holding any liquid and it was just like basically a 3D printed plastic piece of crap? That is so sad, man! And you know the people who buy these special edition of the games are like huge fans. Why would you spit on them and not in like a sexy way?
And after countless bug fixes, Fallout 76 is in okay shape, and now the game and its mishaps are largely forgotten. But the collector's edition wasn't finished. It would spring up one more time in the media. This time it was the helmets. They were accumulating dangerous levels of mold. If you were the lucky owner of one of the collectible Nuka-Cola versions, turns out the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission considers them a severe health risk for anyone with one in the household.
What? I don't remember the mold. Oh my God, maybe one of their other items you need a Geiger counter to use it.
They're recalled and refunded. Bethesda's reputation was already slipping before the events of 76, but Fallout 76 was a major tipping point. Gamers were angry. They were rising up. So angry, these gamers made numerous angry YouTube videos and forum posts, most of which attained a ton of upvotes from other angry gamers.
I'm up to
getting serious. Bethesda thought it best not to respond to the horror that was the launch of this game, and return to the shadows. And Todd and the boys lay low, go off the grid. Before launch, you could often find Pete Hines, Vice President of Bethesda Softworks and Head of Marketing and PR on Twitter, answering curious fans' questions about the game.
Uh-oh.
Afterwards, nothing. Complete radio silence. But after a while, the game is improving. The roadmap that initially launched for the game is taking shape, and the expansions are actually decent. They've even added actual NPCs.
Wow.
Todd had even apologized.
Fallout 76 had a lot of difficulties at launch, and we got a lot of well-deserved criticism.
No, you didn't. That Reddit user did.
To the optimistic, it looked like things at Bethesda had in fact begun to change. Their trail of greed, incompetence, and outright refusal to listen to what their fan base wanted was just a brief nightmare.
Yeah, surely they learned all of their lessons needed. In Elder Scrolls 6, I'll be a masterpiece. Please let me dream. I think I'm gonna overdose on copioma.
A small bump in the road. Finished. Unfortunately, Todd had other plans. They'd said Fallout 76 would never be pay to win. Microtransactions would be cosmetic only. So when they released repair kits to the Atomic Shop in early 2019, fans are confused. Todd had lied, but he wasn't.
You liar, liar, pants on fire, plants for hire, boo, 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 tomato, tomato.
Finished. In 2020, the promised private servers arrive, and they're paywalled behind Fallout 76's new subscription service.
What?
Fallout First. Private servers, unlimited storage for scrap, monthly atoms, exclusive cosmetics, and a tent. All for just $13 a month. More expensive than Netflix at the time.
Why is that worth more than watching 9 more billion hours of content? You would get more out of the Netflix subscription because you're not stuck staring at a wall. Private servers are so useful too because you have full control over power plants and shit for fusion cores. Okay, so like a lot of this seems like you really, really want it. But then they said they weren't going to charge for stuff that people really, really wanted, or like quality of life, or like pay to win features. Why would you lie? Why did you lie to me? I believed in you, Todd. I believed in you and no one else did.
Oh god. Fallout 76 is trending on Twitter again. A ton of angry forum posts are cropping up.
You never want to be the main character on Twitter.
People are not happy. Also, they
the way he was freaking out.
Forum posts are cropping up. People are not happy.
Chicken nuggets!
Also, they forgot to reserve the actual Fallout First domain name, and someone on 4chan managed to get there first.
Oh. Yeah.
Of course, this service was not without issues. The private servers turned out to use recycled multiplayer worlds that had evidence of recent activity from other players, such as dead enemies, looted areas, and so on.
Come on, there's no janitors!
The infinite stash was gobbling up people's scrap, which they...
Ooh, did I ever show you guys the trick? If the chain point toward you, I eat you. If chain point away, I'm just a chest.
They could no longer find. Yeah. Once again, things were not smooth. It's now 2020 and up at corporate movement. See, back in 2007, a private equity firm called Providence had bought around 300 million ZeniMax shares, and then some more in 2010. They're presumed to hold around 30 to 40% of the stock. What followed was a shopping spree. ZeniMax uses this money to buy Tango Gameworks, id, and Arcane.
Wait, Tango? Wait.
ZeniMax uses this money to buy Tango Gameworks, id, and Arcane.
Okay, Tango did the music game. What was it? The music game, the one with the Hi-Fi Rush. They did that, right? They did Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, and then they all got fired or something. I can't remember, but I do remember Tango because they put the little snails inside the level.
And rumor is, by 2016, their little investment has paid off quite nicely. And
wow!
By 2016, their little investment has paid off
dude! And Dishonored, they was printing money.
Quite nicely. And Providence is looking to lock in some profits and sell. However, at this point, ZeniMax are only valued at $2.5 billion.
Only $2.5 billion! Please, only. I would never be able to spend all that.
That was embarrassing. We can do better, boys. And so, a plan is hatched. Instead of sticking to huge, intermittent, high-quality releases every few years, let's consider the quarterly cash flows. How about a few mobile games, price tags on mods, egregiously priced cosmetics, and then the masterpiece that was Fallout 76.
Oh my god.
There. Now, on paper, the company looks great. Just forget about everything else.
Yeah, let's just ignore all that. Everybody look that way.
And the plan works perfectly. Microsoft's Phil Spencer marches straight into their office, and on September 21st, 2020, they announced the acquisition of ZeniMax Media for $7.5 billion. And on the 9th of March...
Okay, guys, I have a dumb question. Do they just write a check that big? Or is it like installments? How do you give somebody $7.5 billion? Just like straight up.
2021, the deal goes through. Xbox now has 23 game studios. And the prime cut of the meat, Todd Howard, and the boys.
Wait a second.
Videos.
So is this how they were doing Game Pass? Like, basically, if they own these companies, do they have to force them to be on Game Pass? Like, even if they have a new release? Write me a check for that much and I'll tell you. Yeah, whatever. Yes? That's very interesting. And rare, does that mean that maybe we'll give Viva Pinata 3?
And the prime cut of the meat, Todd Howard and the boys. Morrowind was a generational leap, effectively laying the foundation for the modern open world game and setting the blueprint for all following Bethesda titles. Todd was the visionary behind it, but with little competition, a horrific engine, and a complete dismissal of fan feedback. Innovation turned to safe, stagnant, and outdated and repetitive releases. And by 2021, it was clear. The Bethesda we once knew was no longer.
They're gonna bring it back, man. Just go 6, I'm telling you, they're bringing it back.
It's him. How did he find you? Todd leans in gently, hair combed to perfection, his frosty eyes glistening. A faint aroma of jasmine and manuka honey radiates from him.
It looks like you got a hickey.
Stand strong and firm. You've fallen for this before. There's nothing he could say to fool. But then you feel his touch.
Oh.
The hairs on your neck shoot.
Why do I have a toxic relationship with Todd Howard? Why is he my ex? I can't stop going back now.
Up as he leans in. The manuka now hot in your nostrils.
Oh.
And he whispers in your ear once more.
What?
Huge. 4 times the size.
Oh, that's why I keep going back. I see.
You'll need a free hand.
Oh!
Todd's next game was coming out next year, and you'd just pre-ordered it.
And I pre-combed my pants. And I bought that game, just letting you know. But I refunded it. That was a great video. Holy crap. That was so good. I feel like I watched an entire movie. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Help me out. And maybe use code Berry for 10% off your Gamer Subs order. It helps me one day maybe get a booba cup. I would super appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you have a great evening. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye.